I am searching for something. In fact, I've been on a quest to find the best possible Battlemage vibes. Not Battlemage, no. That would be Eldritch Knight and the video would be over. No. I have been searching for the best possible Battlemage vibes. What that means, we'll talk about that in just a second. But first things first, welcome back to the Wolf's Garage channel. The name is Wolf, and I've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons online. I'm that kind of nerd. In fact, I'm so much of a nerd, I recently was accepted into the DDO partner program, so I'm a real boy now. And as such, I've gotten access to a lot of new stuff that I did not have access to before, and thus my journey continued, my quest to find the best possible Battlemage. So let's continue. But yes, I've been finding out a lot of interesting things, and right now I've recently true resurrected into a Artificer, like a little bit of tech meets magic kind of aesthetic. However, in doing so, I found a very good vibe that I want to build around. But this is the first time I'm playing Artificer. I don't really have a guide out there. So this is also not a guide video. This is basically a plan of attack. And then maybe as a community, as a collective, we might be able to put me on the right track to the correct Battlemage vibes. The next bit you can skip. There's probably some time codes in the description box below if you want to skip ahead. But yes, a small introduction about me. I've mostly played Dungeons and Dragons on the tabletop. I even tried a little bit of Pathfinder, but unfortunately my autism is not that advanced. And I always enjoyed in the video games that I played, like Path of Exile, Last Epoch, what have you, the idea of creating your own unique character, your own powerful build. It doesn't have to be meta, it just has to be viable enough, and most importantly, fun enough. Because why would you play a video game if you are not having fun while doing it? It kind of defeats the purpose, right? So I don't necessarily subscribe to the notion of trying to optimize the fun away if it comes at the cost of actually enjoying yourself. Now, DDO is probably one of the best current online games that allows you to actually flexibly make a character in an MMO format that is highly unique to what you do. There's, of course, optimal ways of maximizing damage and whatnot, but the flexibility and the kind of themes you can build around are so phenomenal and so rich that it's just so damn addictive. And that's why I've been playing so much DDO as of late, to the point where even the DDO folk were like, you know what, we're going to make you a partner, so that's kind of nice. But yes, let's get into the actual meat of the build, or at least the plan of attack that I currently have. Now, I've never played an Artificer before, but it was strongly recommended to me, and honestly, I can tell you why. Because right now, as you can see, I'm using melee weapons. The idea is to use a bastard sword for the record, but also these runes, which are acting like ammo for our magical abilities through our rune arm, our offhand weapon. And we can run, we can jump, we can attack while this mechanic works. Yet, if you want to attack and run around while casting a regular spell, you can't do that natively. As you can see, I'm slowing down. I can't attack. There's ways to mitigate that, but it doesn't feel very good, and of course everything is an opportunity cost. So I'm wondering, especially with rune arms also enhancing our melee attacks due to their secondary imbue-like effects, if we can make a really good melee Artificer Battlemage vibes kind of build. Although traditionally I understand it's going to get a crossbow, but I want to try a bastard sword. Welcome to the DDO builder, the path of building of DDO, so to speak. The inner workings of my plan of attack lay before you. So be kind, but if you do see improvements that can be made or problems that need to be solved, considering my prerequisites, which are of course the Battlemage vibes, as well as the bastard sword in one hand and the rune arm or a magic spell in the other, by all means let me know. I am going to be trying my best, but this is the first time playing an Artificer, so things will inevitably change. Like, for example, I was not planning on going to become lawful good and picking up the embodiment of law. It just happened to be the case that I mispressed create as opposed to randomize when I was checking out tieflings as opposed to the Eladrin that I was planning to do. So that's a thing, but here we are, and we're going to roll with it. Strength 12 is required for us because we have a +1 tome, which then allows us to pick up Bastard Sword, because we need a prerequisite of 13 strength to be able to pick this up, which is important, because that's what we're going to build around. We're also going to pick up a high con, because we're melee, and we don't want to die. High intellect, because we want to do lots of damage. We don't care about our wisdom. We don't care about our dexterity. And a positive charisma will naturally happen, but we don't want to have a negative to our skill checks because you use magic device and such. And we are artificers, so kind of important. But not the end of the world if you don't have it. As long as you have max int, max con, and enough strength to pick up Bastard Sword, it should be good, right? So we're picking up intelligence as we level. Single weapon fighting, because Bastard Sword can pick up both the single weapon and the two-handed weapon feats. So we're focusing on single weapon fighting through our leveling. And then late in the game, very late in the game, we'll pick up a two-handed for more strike through. So we're going to have kind of the best of both worlds in a way. Insightful Reflexes allows us to use our intelligence as opposed to our dexterity for reflex saves, which of course means we can dump dexterity. And we're not planning to pick up any dodge. We're going to just tank it with actual DR. That's the plan. We're getting a lot of like medium and heavy armor bonuses, right? So I want to kind of lean into that because I've typically built, well, dodgy characters. And now I kind of want to build a tanky character, see how that feels. Considering I don't like dying, and if there's more ways to not die, that's good. Bastard Sword, obviously, the Dark Gift is a bug from the program itself. Don't worry about that. Quicken Spell, so that we don't have to pick up Concentration. That's why it's empty, despite being a class skill. We're going to cast faster, and we're not going to be interrupted if we do cast. Very, very useful. Because as you saw in the little gameplay section where I was explaining the vibes, yeah, we're going to need some speed on those casts. Empower Spell, not super important very early. It's going to be nice for some spells that we are going to pick up fairly early as soon as we can, like the modes and such, to strip immunity. But later in the game, we're going to be able to apply Empower and some other meta magics onto our rune arms, which is not something that is typically possible to juice them even further, which is very, very lovely. And it's a bonus feat, so who cares? Improved single weapon fighting, because that's just more of the good stuff. Improved critical slashing, we're using a Bastard Sword. We want to get more crit. Improved slashing does that for us. Construct Essence, we are a Fleshy, as opposed to a Warforged, so this makes us less of a Fleshy and more of a Warforged, which is important for later, especially since we are going to go Macro Tech as our primary epic destiny. Greater single weapon fighting, because more of the good stuff. Very similar so far to my other battle mages. Improved Construct Essence, which makes us even more of a Warforged, more so than a Fleshy. Very, very important. A lot of benefits from that. It also means that we can repair ourselves even more efficiently without having to use healing magic. And, you know, we don't have excessive healing magic, but we do have wonderful repair power. Very good. Offhand versatility, which is going to give us more imbue die, because we are using a rune arm. That's more magic vibes in terms of mechanical damage. Maximize spells, one of those meta magics that's going to apply to our rune arms in the end. Construct Exemplar. That's going to be very lovely because we're going to get additional benefits on top of that with our epic destiny. But also it's made possible because of our construct and improved construct essence. If we were a Warforged, we could just immediately pick this up earliest convenience and we could save 2 Artificer feats. But since there are not really that many better Artificer feats for this particular build, I didn't think it was too bad to go Fleshy. And also, the docents apparently are really bad. And Adamantine body is not really that good. At least that's what everybody has been telling me. And now the fear of gods is in me. So it is what it is. So we're in Fleshy and we're turning our flesh to well, not flesh, I guess. Epic Destiny feats. Perfect single weapon fighting. I've taken this pretty much on every single character I've played with the exception of my Battle Mage Wolf. So, yeah, this is just essentially the thing I know and love. It's just incredibly. Vorpal threat range increase? Hell yeah. Heavy armor proficiency, because we are going to be playing with heavy armor. There's a lot of heavy armor benefits, or medium to heavy armor benefits. We're not picking up any dodge. So if we want to maximize our DR, especially DR from our chest, our armor, we can do this by picking up heavy armor proficiency and really start leaning into that, because we are not picking up the dodges, right? And we're getting a lot of benefits to actually make heavy armor not that bad for bonus AC because of the Artificer stuff. And even like Macrotech, I believe. So it's really, really good to maximize those values. So heavy armor is definitely something we're going to lean into. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up this late, or if I can pick it up even later, because we also have Epic Mage Armor coming out, which seems like a silly pickup, but Macrotech makes this absolutely disgustingly good. So we definitely want to pick that up as well. We can probably pick this up later because it does require the top end of Macrotech. So maybe we can delay this. What I really want to pick up earlier is Overwhelming Critical, because we are crit based, of course, with our weapon. That's why we pick up the improved crit. Slashing. Overwhelming Critical is going to allow us to do even more damage, which is going to be really, really good. So I kind of want to pick this up earlier. Maybe I'll switch these two around. Who knows? And then we have the Embodiment of Law, which is supposed to be Harbinger of Chaos, but because of my creation mistake, it is what it is. And then we have Intensify, which I'm not sure about. The reason why I picked it up is simply because it has that Macrotech interaction. But honestly, I don't think I like it. The more I think about it, the more I hate it. But I don't know what else to pick up that's going to be really good. I mean, my saves are going to be fine. I mean, my wisdom is probably not all that great. So maybe I can pick up some additional saves, or maybe I can find some additional weapons or stats. I mean, there's Epic Will. Maybe that's fine. I'm not sure. There's a couple of options, but I'm not sure exactly what people would recommend. So if there is somebody who has an idea of what might be good, that might be lovely. I'm also not sure about Scion of the Planes of Air. The reason why is because Plane of Air gives us a lot of dodge stuff, which is great, because it is +4 dodge and +4 dodge cap, but we're walking around in heavy armor. So is that really gonna do anything? I don't think so. The electrical damage and such is lovely. The DCs are nice. The 3 imbue dice is really what we want. But I wonder if there's perhaps something better out there, because it doesn't feel very good. Like, if we were maybe like Acid, it would feel maybe a little better, because we would get more physical resistance rating as well, which would have been lovely. I mean, even Plane of Fire gets like DR and no dodge. So, sadly, we are lightning-based. Maybe I should just move away from lightning and maybe do something else. I don't know. Scion of the Plane of Air just does not feel quite good enough. But maybe it is, because what else is there? And that's pretty much it for the current build, because I typically plan to only go to 30 unless I really like something, and then I plan out further. But right now, though, that's what it is. We have our skills. We need to pick up balance at the beginning for single weapon fighting, and then we cap that out at 7 to pick up the improved single weapon fighting feats that come afterwards, max 7. We have disable device because we are an artificer. We have jump. I want to pick up 6 jump because I don't have any tomes for jumps yet, and I need to at least make sure that I pick up 6 jump plus the guild buffs to be able to reach 10, so that with a +30 pot I can do the skip. Which requires 40 jump, which is also the cap, right? Open lock, we max that out because Artificer. I pick up a little bit of repair power because that's going to give us repair spell power as well. There's no other reason. I think I might even be able to cut this. I don't think it's really going to fundamentally shift things in our favor, especially since with Macrotech, we have a different means of like really juicing our self-healing. So I don't even think this is necessary. I might just cut this. Surge, because, you know, we're going to be trapping... We're going to be searching for secret doors and all that. Spellcrafting, just a little bit of extra juice. A little bit of extra potential for any kind of dialogue options. Not really the end of the world. I might be able to cut this as well. Spot, well, that's just meaning that we can see things before we walk into them, hopefully. Tumble, I do like taking at least a tumble up to 10. At least 1 or 10 tumble. I always like doing that. It's my personal... preference. I feel like a lot of people sleep on tumble. It feels so very good to use. And then after that we have use magic device, because that's just a very powerful skill in the game, right? It allows us to use this a lot more magic that we perhaps otherwise not have access to. But it does leave us with a bunch of skill points as well, especially if we were to cut down repair. Like, what are we going to do? I'm not sure yet. We could do haggle, because it's haggle, you know, money related stuff, who knows. We could do Intimidate. I see a lot of people recommending Intimidate. And I am going to be fairly tanky, especially with the way we're going to build in the heavy armor. So maybe it's Intimidate so we can save squishies in our team. Maybe that's it. Maybe we can be like an off tank. I'm not sure. I haven't really experimented with Intimidate as a button before, but maybe it's time. Maybe we can just cut repair and put it all into Intimidate. Although it's not a class skill, so it feels really bad to use, I guess. Because we're going to cap it out at like, what, 11, 11.5? So 11. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe somebody else has some experience with it. Now, what we also have over here is the Epic Destinies. Now, I am mostly going to spend most of my points into Macrotech. I have not yet decided which other ones I want to add. There's some good ones. I'm thinking, because I'm very heavy into lightning, maybe Fate Singer has some stuff. Draconic Incarnation might be lovely. There's a lot of imbue stuff there as well. I did it on my Druid. A lot of power there. You could make an argument for Fury of the Wild since we are doing melee, but I don't want to pick up Quick Cutter. We're not Grandmastering Legendary Dreadnought is okay. Not really my cup of tea, though. Magus might have some stuff if we had gone... Actually, no, it doesn't have some stuff. That's the cold and negative energy. Primal Avatar might have some things. I also use that on my Druid. There's a lot of imbue and elemental shenanigans there that we could be possibly leveraging. Shadow Dancer, not really. That's more sneak attack, die, and such. It is nice to have the DD, but it is what it is. I'm not sure. It feels like Macrotech is definitely going to be the primary carry here, which is why I've got 39 points in it. And if I go further into the game, to 32, I will definitely spend even more points into it by picking up Macrotech Armored Augmentation. But yeah, we're picking up the cores we can. I'm planning to picking up some Blast Shields, just because of the reflex saves. We're picking up the Epic Strike Mending Burst. This is what's going to repair us, hopefully, a lot, especially with all the meta magics on top of that. That should be really, really good. We're picking up some Sprockets for more resistances, especially with the Construct Exemplar feat. We're getting even more value out of that, which is why we want to pick up the Construct Exemplar quite early if we can. We're picking up the Force Field Generator as well. It's going to make us super tanky. It's going to be very, very good, especially with wearing a rune arm. It's going to be even better. I might pick up Hammer Time as opposed to Radiant Prison, depending on how the rune arms feel and which rune arms I have. Because having a lightning hammer does sound really, really cool. But if my rune arm does a very similar thing, I may not need it. Although having a spell that does something like that just as a secondary on top of the rune arm would be kind of clutch and might be able to like make me feel even more like a battle mage. In the meantime, though, we have rune arm use, which gives us another stable charge tier, which is very, very comfy. Fluidity to get rid of all the potential arcane spell failures, because we are going to be casting some spells, and I'm not sure how many spells I will end up with that are infusions and which ones are actually spells. So I might cut this if I don't have any spells that could trigger arcane spell failure, but if I do, it's considered already. We have improved Aegis, which is just an improvement to our mantle. More imbue die, obviously. We have speed drive for double strike, hell yeah, incredible, which is going to get amped up even further later. Magical recoil, even better. Another improvement to our mantle, which is really, really nice, which gets further improved not further improved, but also works with our rune arm, which is very lovely. Spark drive, speaking of rune arms being improved, really, really good. More damage, awesome. Blast drive, also really solid, but we're also going to expect even more benefits from that in the next tier. Galvanic attunement, because, well, we are relying on our spell power to do our spell damage and amping up our imbue. We have Force Field Generator, because it's just ridiculous amounts of, survivability. Maximum Overdrive, it's just a Super Saiyan button. Macrotechnic Armor of Legends is absolutely insane. This is why we want to pick up the Epic Mage Armor. Look at that list of benefits depending on the drives we have. And we have installed several drives with the current lineup, which seems really, really good. Now, on top of that, we have the Critical Connection, because that's just more damage. I mean, look at that. Insanely good. Because we are wielding a rune arm, so that's just awesome. I'm not so much sold on the spell DCs, because I'm not really like trying to stun people, and red names ruin all the fun anyway. So that's kind of what the plan is. I might pick up the hammer. I might just pick up the hammer in addition to the Radiant Prison, because the Radiant Prison is a very nice unbreakable force field against non-bosses, which could be clutch. But then again, most of the issues I have are against red names that can't be CC'd anyway. So it's like, maybe it's just better to go hammer time. We have some flexibility, and also I don't know yet what other epic destinies are really going to feel good other than the ones I've played with, which are Fate Singer on my Bard, Primal Avatar on my Druid, or just even the... no, not Shadow Dancer. What's the other one? I can't find it. Oh yeah, Draconic. Draconic Incarnation. Very good also. I'm not sure if it's going to work with this build, but it might. It might. So yes, that's currently my plan of attack. So by all means, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Once again, This is my macrotech. This is my list of current feat progression. And we have our skills, which I'm not entirely sure about because of the whole, you know, do I need the repair? Or do I want to pick out Intimidate? But I have no idea how Intimidate feels or how useful it's going to be because I don't have like an excessive amount of charisma. It's a whole thing, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the Twitch. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to your judgment. And I will see you guys on the other side. Have a good night. Take care. I'm out.